Hey guys, welcome back to Sisters Unfiltered. We were just here an hour ago.
Yeah.
More like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So if we have the same outfits on.
Yeah. Same day.
Same day.
Yeah.
Same day. Back to back. I think this is episode 15.
That's crazy.
Which is crazy to think about. Again, very small compared to like lots of podcasts, but kind of big compared to other podcasts that, start and some kind of trail off. So pretty proud of us. High five.
Love it.
Here we are, episode 15. So as always, what we've started doing is just asking you if you don't mind thumbs upping our episodes or our podcast on Spotify, on Apple Podcast, on YouTube. You can follow us on, what do we have? YouTube. You can follow us on TikTok, Instagram.
Yeah.
And that's pretty
Share
us. We would love for you to share any clips that you see that you really like, or any of our podcasts that you hear, episodes that you hear.
Yeah.
We would be so appreciative. We hate to bombard you with that, but it honestly, we really feel like the Lord has called us to do this, and the only way that we can reach more people is to have you share.
Yeah. Also, we want to know some topics. We kind of just been coming up with topics. Some of our friends, before we started, kind of gave us some ideas of some things they would like to hear. But honestly, now that we're 15 episodes in, we would love to know, what do you guys want us to talk about? I don't know. Yeah,
I mean, we are open to comments and requests and questions and all the things, and you can DM us, or you can post it right on our Instagram account, or whatever is easiest. You can text us personally if you know us. Yeah. We're good, but we would love for any brainstorming ideas you have. That would be great. Yes. So again, we're in a kitchen with the most basic of basic materials and equipment. However,
we have dishwasher that beeps, ice maker that drops ice,
refrigerators that turn on and off,
kids that might come in, a dog. Yeah. I mean, anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
Yeah.
We try really hard to cross all those things off our list if we need to.
All right. So today the topic is an idea that I had, which is a very popular thing, I think, everywhere. And we're going to talk a little bit about body image, about health, about how we were raised, how our mom was, which we talk about that almost every episode, but specifically about this. And then kind of what we've done with our kids, but also we're still learning when it comes to that, because Lindsey has 3 girls. I have one. Yeah. And so my daughter's 14. I have not arrived on knowing the best possible way how to handle body image and stuff like that with her. But we're still talk about that a little bit because it's such a popular topic. I say this every episode. I'm a TikTok fan, and they have this whole corner of TikTok called Skinny Talk. And it's just interesting to see everyone's thoughts about body image and health and what you're supposed to look like and what you're supposed to eat and how you're supposed to exercise, and just our journey in that. And then as that continues, because I don't know if you ever really arrive. I think we become more and more knowledgeable, but it's hard with aging, with your body changing. Yeah. With, as women especially, you go through puberty and you get married and you have babies, and then you have menopause and all these things, and body image is such a huge, it's in your face all the time, in our culture and everything like that. So we're going to talk about that.
And it's changed over the years.
It has changed.
So,
and it keeps changing.
I mean, the fact that we have body image issues or whatever, awareness hasn't changed, but what the culture or society expects of you has changed.
Right. Or says it's beautiful.
That's right. The definition of things
changed.
have changed over the years from when our mom was younger until now.
Yes. So do you want to start with that? Kind of how we were raised, the example we had about body image and stuff.
I mean, I feel because this is your thoughts on it, why don't you start off and then I'll kind of feed off of that.
So I just think it's always interesting to talk about to women, because I've never met a woman, not one time in my 46 years, that almost 47, that is I don't struggle with that, or I've never struggled with that. Yeah. Right? I mean, all women struggle with this. Yeah. And so my mom, who we've talked about this so much, was such an amazing woman, and she was great. But I will say that one thing that, and I think she learned it from her mom, was she was on a diet
All the
I
time.
never knew her not on a diet.
Yeah.
Why don't I say it like that?
Yeah, she was on a diet all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
Obsessive about her weight, about what she ate, until the day she died.
Yeah, she was. You're right, she was.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's just very interesting because I think her mom was that way as well.
Yeah.
And my mom was heavier at times and skinnier at times, but always my whole life on a diet. I think our kids knew that she was always on a diet. And so for me as her daughter, I think I adopted some of that. Like, I think that, not that I've necessarily always been on a diet, but I've always been very conscious of my weight. I hating the scale, first of all, what I was eating, what other people looked like, that kind of thing. In a weird way, because like in some ways I always felt like it never stopped me from doing anything I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But I was always very conscious of it, I think.
Yeah.
What about you?
I mean, I think about it now and I'm like, the word diet was used a lot more then than it is now.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like
It
now
wasn't
it's like
like
a
a
way of
lifestyle.
life.
Yeah.
Right? It's a lifestyle. And so, like, diet was like, yeah, like, I just feel like mom was always on a diet. Like, I never felt like she was, like, self-sabotaging or talked negative about herself, really. Did you feel like, I mean, you gotta remember me and Ashley are 5 years apart. So, what I probably experienced some is different, probably, because mom had probably grown some.
Right.
Because when I went to college, mom lost a bunch of weight.
Yes.
Right before I went to college. She went on Weight Watchers. Shout out to Weight Watchers, which I know is still a very successful thing.
Yes.
And so, like, I just always knew she was on a diet.
And it was I think this too, it was a diet that was about how you looked, not about health. Always.
Oh, yes. And it was that more that time.
Yes, 100%.
For sure it was.
Yes.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was
I
more
mean,
that
for
time.
sure it was about more how you looked and not about your health.
Not at all.
It didn't matter if you were skinny fat.
No.
It didn't matter if you were working out. It didn't
Yes.
matter, you know, whatever. You just weren't supposed to eat the white bread, I guess. But even then, we didn't really know white bread was bad back then, I guess, right?
No.
Wasn't it?
We didn't know that.
No.
Not for a while.
No,
That's for
because
sure.
we ate
So
a
we grew
lot
up in
of it.
Alabama, where, you know, it's not the healthiest place ever. Love it. So many great things about it. Great food, by the way. Tastes so
Great
good.
food. To be honest, like, Austin is so different than Alabama, still to this day.
Oh, so different.
Yeah, still
Yes.
very different than Georgia, very different than Tennessee.
Yes.
Austin is a very healthy,
Outside.
very outdoorsy area,
active.
very active. You know, you could eat organic here and gluten-free years before you could eat that in Alabama and Florida and all the places.
You don't have a lot of overweight people, honestly.
You really don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely feel like
No, that's not cool.
like bigger than most people here because
that's not true.
I'm just making the point, you don't.
Yes.
It's a lot of very healthy people here. And so, like, it is just still to this day, it's just very different. I think a lot of things come from, like, the West.
Yeah.
And they slowly, like, trends and everything kind of slowly, like, trickle down to, like, the Southeast. But yeah, I just didn't feel like, I don't know, it's interesting because what we've talked about is that mom, it was never, like, a confident, like, we never struggled with confidence, really.
I probably should have.
No.
I probably should have in some of my pictures.
But
Where
like, so I never was like,
ooh, I was kind of confident.
I was never down on
But a little
myself.
chunky.
But I always knew that I wasn't the skinniest.
Yeah.
Like, I always knew that.
So let's say that for people who don't know us in real life. We're not this genetically, our family is not skinny.
Like tiny. We're not tiny people.
We're not small.
We're not tall necessarily.
But we're
Weight
not-
is tall.
Yeah.
But none of us are tall,
Yeah.
which is almost, I wish I was.
Even out a little bit.
I would be thinner if I was
But
taller.
we're just not, that's not our genetics.
No, we're not like obese people either, but we're just not skinny.
No, that's
No, so it's definitely something we have to
Never-
fight for.
Never been skinny in my life.
Never.
Never.
No, no, the collarbone is the best area on my body.
This is what we do.
Because you
This is why we have the like we joke about it so much. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but my mom was always on a diet.
She was always on a diet. She was never like, I don't remember her talking. I know that she felt like she was bigger. But like she was never spoke bad to us about our bodies.
No.
Never spoke bad to us about our bodies.
She was sometimes honest.
She
not, but not me.
No, there was a time when I might have been coerced into walking laps by being offered to be paid.
That's health.
That was healthy. But I declined.
You thought it was a choice.
I declined, which, by the way, I wish I would not have declined.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it was never mean. I never felt like my mom and dad never made us feel bad about our bodies or about who we were. There was encouragement, but honestly, our kids might look back at us and say the same thing.
100%. Absolutely. But I'm saying I do not have this figured out, and I'm not saying that my mom didn't either. It's just one of those things that I always remember. It's a sensitive subject. Yes.
It's very hard. Listen, some of you might have the skinniest kids ever, okay? Kudos to you. Yeah. But genetics, we just are not tiny people. Yes. And so I've learned that you can't ever look at someone and just think oh, they just eat whatever they want all the time.
Right.
By their body shape. That's not true at all. And so I have friends who let their kids, boys mainly, eat however many chicken nuggets they want to eat.
Yeah. Literally,
come in, they've eaten 30, and I'm not actually exaggerating.
Yes.
All my kids' lives, I've been and this is not actually just a calorie or a weight thing. I just think it's called, let's be reasonable here. I'm not going to purchase you 30 chicken nuggets, nor is it good for you to have 30 chicken nuggets. I don't care how skinny you are. Yeah. But I've always been boys, you can have 8.
Yes.
Right? Okay, so I'm just saying, you don't need to look at my family and think that we don't control the amount of food that we do. Right. But genetics are genetics.
Yes. Yes. I mean, there definitely, there are things I have bigger legs. I'm going to always have big legs. I could work on them. I could work out. I do work out. I've been skinnier. I've been fatter. Always have big legs. Yeah. It's not going to change.
It's not going to change. Do you know what's not going to change on me? I cannot believe I'm saying this on a public forum. My love handles.
We all have something.
Love handles. I have love handles. And unfortunately, Derek does too. So now it's been 100% passed down to our biological children. Ava Megan's so lucky. Yeah. And there's nothing you can do. No. Even when I got thin, I've had times when I'm thinner. Yes. I still had love handles. That doesn't actually... Right. Ashley is a bug that will not leave my life. That doesn't change it. And it's just genetics. There's nothing I can do about it. I most certainly haven't embraced the love handles. Yeah. But it is what it is,
But I look back at pictures, and I think everybody does because it's kind of a general thing I see people laugh about. But I look back at pictures and thought I was fat. And there were times that I was chunkier than others. But there are other pictures where I'm I really thought I was fat at the time, and I wasn't. Yeah. I just kind of thought that.
Yeah.
So I always thought, even in high school and all those things, I was bigger than everyone else.
I did too.
Because we were never skinny.
I did too. And it's funny because, I
don't know if that was because of mom or if that was just the truth.
I don't think it wasn't the truth. No, I don't think it was either one. I just think you are aware, even if no one says anything. Mom never told us we were big.
Yeah. No.
Never. And so to me, it's you're just aware. If you're aware of who you are, if you're bigger or smaller than someone else. It doesn't matter how old you are. I think that's something that you just know. You don't have to be told that.
Yes.
I think the key is not letting it change. You're confident in who you are. And
our identity wasn't wrapped in our body weight. That is one thing. It was never wrapped in that. It was always in who God says we are and that kind of thing. So I'm so thankful for that.
Yes.
But I do think her dieting all the time played a part in
maybe our awareness a little bit more of stuff like that.
Yes.
Just in general.
And honestly, that I will probably always have to be aware. And I tell my kids this too. And some of you guys are going to think this is probably bad parenting, and maybe it is. But I always tell my boys, I'm we're not skinny people. So no matter what, seriously though, no matter what, you're going to probably always have to watch your weight and exercise.
Yeah.
You will probably just always have to watch it. And same for me and my husband. Like, we will just have to watch it. We've never been the kind of people that can just eat whatever we want and not work out or whatever. Like, it just is not, it's not in the genetics.
It's just not in the genetics.
Not for us, you know?
Yeah.
But I mean, I pretty much did what my mom did, and like pretty much been on a diet. I've been on all the diets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And done all the things. Now, I think because of just knowledge, I think because of living in Austin, I think because I do care about my aesthetics, but I care more about my health. And that's just become something in the last probably like 14 years, 15 years of just learning things and being really into liking certain types of exercising and that kind of thing. But I'll tell you the truth. I really like to exercise, but I also really like to eat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not like, oh, like cucumber slices, you know?
With my queso.
You know, exactly. You know what I mean? But I do enjoy exercising. I like it for a lot of reasons. I like it for my mental health. I like it for all of those kind of things. But I also really love to eat good food.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And over the years, it's just evolved. But I definitely am not like where I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm good. Like,
yeah.
You know, but I've also had 4 kids. I mean, there's just so much to consider and so much to think about.
For sure. I do think that. And I think that, like, I definitely think that, like, I don't know, like, I wonder if our kids will look back and say we were always on a diet. I hope it's not a diet to them. I hope it's, like, a way of life.
Yeah.
Eating, you know?
Yeah.
First of all, I'm not always on a diet. I'm like, I'll go eat Mexican food.
If we ask you.
If you ask me, I'll go. I mean, it's hard to control that. But definitely, like, encourage healthier eating with our kids. I think Ashley and I Ashley's probably more healthier for sure than, like, I have been, even with your kids and your eating.
Yeah.
And not for any reason necessarily.
But you don't love to exercise.
I don't love to exercise.
Yeah, I think that's okay. I think that's most people.
Honestly. I do it.
Yeah.
On the weekly.
Yeah.
But it's not something I want to do.
Yes.
And I enjoy it a little bit more than I used to probably, but it's definitely something I make myself do because it's good for me. Mm-hmm. Like longevity. And also like I want to be able to run around with my grandkids and one day and all of that. So I definitely make myself exercise. Derek likes it. I think he enjoys exercising. But neither one of us are like huge into all of that as much as some people are. But on the flip side, you know, there's definitely some encouragement going on with kids, and there's an age that your kids get to, in my opinion, that the subject might come up if your child is not super duper skinny.
Yeah.
And
it definitely is going to.
It's going to come up.
Yes.
And so it's like, where is that? One, how old do you think that is? And two, how do you talk about it where you feel like it doesn't create any type of complex?
Right. Because you want kids to be aware, but you don't want them to have a complex or be anorexic or bulimic.
Or disorders.
Or insecure.
Or not confident in who they are, or walk around depressed because they feel like you've made them too aware.
Too aware.
That's where we have to be careful. There's a very, very, very delicate line there.
I think it's about age 10.
That's what I would say.
That's
10 was in my head too.
It's just
10 is in my head too. When you kind of start.
Yes, yeah. When they become more aware. They're kind of pre-puberty-ish at that age.
10 is an awkward age.
It's an awkward age
if your kids aren't skinny, most likely this is time where they get a little bit chubbier.
Yeah. And some kids are self-conscious about being really skinny and tiny.
Oh yeah, they are.
You get
short,
that going
little,
into middle school as well. So this isn't just about, for us, it's about our family's just going to be a little bit heavier, but it could be too small, too short, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like we all have insecurities because body image is such a huge thing in our culture. But I think about 10, all 4 of my boys, every single one of them, chunky at that age, okay? Belly, you know, like literally, you know, just not the like real lean, fit kids. And we kind of went through where we had to talk to them about that, you know, where we kind of started exercising. My husband and I both really liked exercise, so we've always made our kids exercise. Where they've cried, they've hated it, they haven't wanted to go. Now that they're much older, it's funny. They'll look back on things and be like, I'm so glad you made us do that. We love it. They kind of all love it too, except our oldest Tyler doesn't love to exercise, but he does it occasionally. And it's just, I think about 10-ish. I think going into middle school, you just have a lot more awareness of size. The girls are usually taller, bigger than the boys at that age. And so I think you have to have the conversation.
Yeah. I don't think it has to be like a huge conversation. Like, don't make it a big deal, because then it does become like they can start worrying about it. I think it has to be more of a conversation like, I don't know, my kids have brought it up before I have had to usually
mine too.
Kind of come in there like, I just don't, like, why all the other girls are so much smaller than me, or all the other boys. And that's when we're like, hey, okay, cool, I get that. But now you're getting to this age where you got to start making some decisions on your own.
Some choices, right?
Some choices, like you need to eat more protein, not so many chips. Yes, we can still control that. But I'm going to be honest. I got 5 kids. I'm not controlling it's so exhausting for me. Also, you can't control what they're eating at school, at lunch. I mean, at lunch, like, okay, cool, send their lunch. They're going to get it from somebody else.
Yeah.
So now, this is the time when we start teaching them better choices.
Yes, yeah. And it doesn't, like, my boys didn't come out of the chunky phase for a while.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, they did. They got taller, and they like exercise, and they learned to exercise more and all that kind of stuff. But it takes a little bit of time, and it takes a little bit of talking about it. I mean, my kids have told me stories where they really cried. Like, Sam tells me a story about when he was, I don't know what grade he was in, but like his friends were making fun of him for being chunky or whatever. And he was always a big boy, and it just really bothered him so bad. And I didn't know at the time. He didn't talk to me about it. It makes me so sad. But I mean, if you saw Sam now, you'd be like, really?
Yeah.
Was that the chunky kid we made fun of?
Yeah. And some kids and some boys are just big boys.
They
like,
are.
really. And they might not ever be lean.
Yeah. I actually think for boys, it's still a lot, like, you don't get as much flack being a big boy as you do a big girl.
No, you don't.
Which is not fair.
Yeah.
Either, but
I agree with that. So, but I still think that it's like healthy decisions, like just teaching healthy, you know.
Yeah, I do have, I've learned that too. Like, if that's your goal, is health and not so much about what you look like.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And I do think that's what you have to present it as.
Yes.
To your kids.
You do. Yes.
It's about the health and the energy they'll gain and the stamina they'll have when they're playing sports or in PE. It's not about the looks. Yes. And that's where I think we really have to, if you're going to discuss this with your kids, you got to go that direction and not about the looks. Because ultimately, they might not be skinny mini when they're older. And you still want them to have confidence.
Yeah. Or vice versa. What if they are, but you've given them a complex?
That's right. And now they have like a disorder. Or what if it's a girl and she's going to get pregnant one day? You don't want her to feel like terrible about herself because she's pregnant. So like, you definitely don't talk about it as far as looks. Yeah. Also, there's very good looking people who are not tiny.
Oh, for
and
sure.
That also, and I think that's kind of been like my confidence. Is I've always like, I don't dwell on this, but I've always like just thought like, listen, I might not be the skinniest person, but I do think I have a pretty face.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds bad, but it is true. Yes. I mean, it's true as in like, that is a good way to like think like, yes, I need to make good decisions. Yes, I need to work out. Yes, I would love to be smaller. But I don't think I'm an ugly person.
Right.
And I don't think that anybody has to be an ugly person. Right. There's ways that you can dress trendy. You can have jewelry that's trendy. You can you can just make yourself look, whatever that looks like to you. Not to wear makeup, you feel beautiful, do it. Right. Wear makeup, you feel beautiful, whatever it is. But I think that the goal is to like your kid to know to have a good view of their own body image.
Yes.
And it's not about size.
Right.
It's about what is healthy. Mm-hmm. Okay. What is, and where does your confidence lie?
Yes.
And I think that that's your choice as parents to make your kids feel that way about themselves, you know? And like, you know, one way that you're going to know if your kid is confident, if it's a boy, is they'll walk around with their shirt off.
That's true.
Really.
Yeah.
If they're not walking around with their shirt off a lot, sometimes that might mean that they're struggling a little bit, and that's okay. We all do. You just don't want them to stay there.
Yeah.
Do they have to walk around with their shirt off? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just making the point. There's some cute, like, clues there.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I think, you know, over the years, like I did Weight Watchers and Mom did Weight Watchers. So I lost weight after I gained a lot of weight with my first, when I got pregnant. And I was so happy because I was just eating whatever I wanted. And I feel like never in my life where I was just like, that I can like really remember where I was like, I'm going to eat whatever I want.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have. I gained a lot of weight with him. It took me a long time to lose it. But lost weight after him, doing Weight Watchers just because Mom was doing it, but no exercise whatsoever.
Yeah.
I was eating like fat-free Cheez-Its, you know what I mean? And I was like skinny
Smart
fat.
ones.
And I was like skinny fat,
Yeah.
you know? Like even though I was less on the scale, I had like no muscle. Had Blake, gained less with him, but still pretty much the same. I just had started off lower. And then did Body for Life, which was for the first time, we were in South Florida, that's when I started doing exercise and eating healthy.
Yeah.
You know, and that like program, I would say, I don't even want to call it a diet, but a program really helped me kind of learn how to exercise. This was the first time that I was like, oh yeah, I really kind of like to exercise, you know? And then, but you have 4 babies. I mean, you have 4 babies too. You're going to be all over the place.
Yeah.
With the weight, your body changes. Even if you lose weight, things look different. You know, all that kind of stuff. So you do have to have some type of foundation of confidence that isn't based on that.
Yeah.
But we're all, you know, human, and so we deal with that a little bit. So I'm like, I think now, and it took me a long time, I think of things more in that health vein.
Yeah.
Like I want to live longer.
Yeah.
I want to be sharp. I want to, you know, be able to keep up with my kids and my grandkids and things like that more than how I look. Now I do still care about that.
Yeah.
But I think I have a more balanced than I ever have before on that, and yet still struggle with it. It's the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
You know, as a woman,
Yeah.
I guess. And maybe that's when comparison comes in and stuff. And I'll be honest, like, you know, even I want to be careful with Ella and the things that she hears me say about myself.
Yeah.
And what she picks up. I mean, what about, how do you feel? Because I feel different with the boys than I do with Ella, even how we talked about body image and stuff like that. Maybe I shouldn't.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. And maybe this is why I haven't worked out as much or whatever. I don't think body image it does, for sure, I would love to be smaller. Without a shadow of a doubt. And I don't like love myself in pictures all the time. But I do think that like body image has just never been like my main focus.
Yeah.
And so
maybe that's a good way to put it.
And so maybe like it should be probably more, but because of that, probably I don't talk about it a lot in front of our girls. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think they think like too much of it. They do a little bit. I know they do. They're middle schoolers. Okay.
Right.
Like they know, right? But like as far as like me in front of the girls, like I don't feel like they know like that dad and mom eat healthier, like they like want us to eat healthier. They know all that for sure. They know that Derek, like my husband's lost some weight recently and that's been so good, and so they know all that. But like it's not been something that our house has always been like uber focused on. And part of that has been a choice of mine because I want them to be healthy, but I don't want them to have any complex. Like I want them to be like confident in who they are. So like for sure, you know, maybe we could have done better with that, the health side of things. But here's what I was thinking when it comes to kids and body image, and not weight necessarily, but there's things that we can do as parents that can help our kids.
Yes.
That I think sometimes parents miss the mark on, or they don't know. And I do think mom was good about that. Yeah. Mom was good about helping us do our hair, making sure our hair looked good, making sure that we were up to date in style, making sure that we wore makeup when we needed to, like not in a rude way, but in an encouraging way. And I think that like I have not always heard that from everyone. And like people who their parents didn't tell them some things and should have probably like
my mom, like Lindsey and I laugh about it. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Oh no, it's
but
okay.
She would tell us if certain things didn't look good on our body type.
Yes.
From the time
but not in a negative way, but yes.
No, but she did. She was truthful. That's what I mean about being truthful. She would just say, hey, that's not great for your body shape.
Yeah.
And let's try something different. And I kind of feel like that has helped me later on in life.
Yeah.
no, there's certain things I'm just not going to be able to wear.
I say the same thing to my girls.
Oh,
and I
do too.
I have like, you know, a daughter who's Asian,
Yes.
who's tiny.
Yes.
And then I have my girls who are not nearly as tiny as her.
Yes.
And they are totally opposite body shape. And what works on my, you know, Ava Mae does not work on Abby Kate,
Right.
and vice versa.
Yes.
And that is going to be forever. And that's not a negative to either one of them. It's just the truth.
Right.
So if you say it in the right way, it doesn't have to be offensive. Now listen, your middle school daughter's probably going to get offended no matter what.
That's right. There's no way you're going to be able to say it without them.
Depending on their personality. So I have had some that have gotten their feelings hurt by me being nice, tried to dance around it and not say it, finally had to just say, that's just not going to work on you. And the response back to me was, you think I'm fat? I was
Right.
like, no, I don't. I never said that.
Right.
The facts are the facts.
Yeah.
What I've said, what Ann and Ashley can wear, I cannot wear.
Yeah.
Vice versa, because we have a different body type.
That's right.
That's okay. So here's the thing. I think we need to be careful because I think that if we're not helping our kids out, shame on us.
Yeah, it's like it's
Shame on
again
us.
what we say in a lot of episodes. It's the extremes.
Yeah.
It's the harping on them about the way they look and all this stuff, but not saying anything at all doesn't help them either.
It does, actually embarrasses them. It embarrasses
Right.
them. Not telling your daughter when she should shave.
Right.
Not telling your son when he should shave.
Yes.
Not saying, hey, it's a good time to start putting deodorant on.
Yes.
Okay?
Or that shirt or shorts or jeans are too tight.
Too tight. You've outgrown them.
Yes.
Say that. Doesn't
Yeah.
mean that they're fat or skinny.
Yes.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Too tight, too short. Doesn't work. You know, that color doesn't work on you.
Yeah.
Not trying to be whatever, but it's just
because
not
both
the right
those things
fit.
are red doesn't mean it matches.
No, exactly. It's so true. There's just things we have to do. Flip and get your kids' eyebrows waxed sometimes, guys. Don't let them have a unibrow.
Yeah.
That stuff like that, like, okay, you don't want to spend the money on it. I understand that, but it's $10.
Yeah.
Really, eyebrows waxed is $10. I'm not talking about getting their nails done. I'm not talking about getting fake eyelashes for girls. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But tell your boys when to shave. Don't let them have a mustache at the age of, middle school when it's awkward. Like, and I know you feel like that is hurtful, but it's actually helpful if you say it the right way.
Right.
You can't be making fun of your kids and being rude. You have to say it in a loving, encouraging, like, hey, I just want to help you out. Like, and most of the time it will go well. There are times where it might not go well and there's nothing you can do about it. But we do have to help our kids out.
But over time it will go well. Like,
yes.
It's going to help.
Yes. And financially, guys, you can go to Goodwill. You can go to Target and get stuff on clearance. There's things you can do. Shein, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not a Shein shopper for myself, but listen, for my girls, it's been great because it's cheap. They're growing. Their bodies are changing, but it fits their body shapes.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
There's just some things we have to do to help our kids out that I think some of us think we're going to hurt their feelings, but we're really not. Same thing with acne,
Yes.
all that stuff. There's things we can do if we say it in the right way to help
and
them.
talking about acne and things like that, that's also health. Like we might say, hey, you need to drink more water because that's going to clear your skin up. You're not being ugly by saying that. You're trying to help them and you're teaching them a healthy habit.
Yeah.
That's helping everything.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's just saying it in that very balanced way.
It is of being kind and loving and helpful.
Yeah.
And honestly, I feel like that helped us have confidence in who we were. Because it was like, it does. It boosts your confidence to know that your mom and dad are in your corner.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to make sure that you're looking the best you can.
Yes.
And I feel bad when I hear stories where parents didn't do that. Or, this is real, greasy hair.
Yeah.
For girls.
Yes.
It is real. Guys,
It is.
something that I am on my girls all the time about.
Right.
You can ask them. It is a real thing.
Yeah.
Girls like to wash their hair. Also, some girls' hair are going to be more greasy than others. And I've seen so many middle school girls have greasy hair, mine included.
Yes. Yeah.
And I am like, we're not doing that.
Yes.
Like, you're not going to have greasy hair. We got to figure this out, right? And I just think that kind of stuff sets them up for success.
Yeah.
Like, it sets them up for having more confidence. Like, okay, you know what? I'm going to school today.
Right.
I feel
put
good.
Together.
My teeth are brushed.
My clothes are ironed.
My hair's not
matched.
greasy. That's right. I'm looking the best I can look with what we have.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to, all that does is help body image.
Yeah.
All that does, again, gotta be careful with our wording.
Yes.
Can't say mean things.
Yeah. Yes.
You know?
Okay, but it's okay sometimes to be truthful.
Mm-hmm.
And also, they're going to find out and understand that this girl has this shoe size and this girl has this shoe size, or this boy is this height and this boy is this height. Those things you can't control.
Yeah.
So, because we can't control them,
Yeah.
how are we going to go about them? Are we going to ignore them?
Yeah.
That we're different? No, we can't. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And so I just think our kids and even us are bombarded with so many things and body image things. And sometimes I think our issues, and I think it's funny that we're talking about my mom and all that stuff, like sometimes our issues, well, a lot of times, goes into them. And so we have to be careful that we're telling ourselves the same thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That I'm doing this because really it's good for my health. I'm doing this not to be a size 0. I'm doing this, which I never have been. I'm doing this because I'm going to live a long life.
Yeah.
Or I want to be healthy, or it helps my mental health, or
Yeah.
whatever that is.
For sure.
You know?
Yes.
And I am thankful that we do live in a time where I think we have a lot more knowledge
Yeah.
about
Yes.
healthy and living.
And the pretty girls are not the skinniest girls.
That's true too.
That we
when
live
I
in a
was-
society
right,
that,
when I was growing up, the girls that were beautiful were so skinny.
yeah,
They're like Kate Moss. You remember
super
her?
skinny, and
the supermodels.
some of them had the big boobs. It was
Yeah, for me, I don't know because we're
You-
5 years apart. It was like these skinny
Not big
supermodels.
boobs.
No,
Yeah.
they were like indented skinny,
yeah.
so
Like
skinny.
anorexic skinny.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that was what was on all the magazines, all the things,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, could I look opposite of that? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I did not look like that at all. But that was like the popular
Yeah.
way people look. Now that has changed a lot, you know, and like
Yes.
what people are saying is beautiful and all that kind of
Yes.
stuff, and attractive. But
Yeah.
for me, it was that. And so when you have that as like the model, supermodels,
For sure, you're gonna feel
it's
bad
like,
about yourself.
yeah, you're like, I'm never gonna be able to look like that, you
No.
know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just so, our kids are bombarded with that all the time, and
They
so
are.
are we. So it's kind of like, how do we carry that in our house?
And I think a lot of it really is, you know, you're doing what mom did, which was you're speaking the word of your kids too, which is it might not be necessarily specific to body image, but it's
Identity.
like it's identity, and
Yeah.
it's speaking who God created them to be, and that God created them for a purpose, and He has a plan for them, and God never specifies that according to the way you look.
Yeah.
And so to me, like, you're speaking that over them, but you're also able to say, I'm your mom.
Yeah.
And I am going to help a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay? So, like, it is twofold. We can't just put that on the Lord, be like, hey, you have a purpose, you have a plan,
Yeah.
but be like, I'm not going to tell my son that he looks super awkward because he has a mustache
Yeah.
right now. Like, you
Yeah.
can't do that, right? Like, we do have to partner
Yeah.
with the Lord on some things
Yeah.
to, like, help them feel more confident in themselves, you know? And I don't know, we're never going to do it perfect.
Right.
We're really not.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to mess up. You're going to get irritated. I've gotten so irritated from some of my kids not showering before, and, you know, probably never called out mean things, but probably was like, your friends are going to think you smell,
Yeah.
you know, kind of thing. So we've all done it.
Yeah.
But it's like, body image is such an important thing that will literally last forever.
Yeah. It will.
So how are you
we gonna deal
handling
with
it
it? Yeah.
as a parent to where it can be a positive thing? But it's the balance of when my kid's an adult, I want them to feel confident in who they are. But we do have an earthly body.
Right.
We can't just do whatever we want.
Well, yeah, and even scripture talks about your body as a temple.
Yeah, it's just
and
you
all of those
steward
kind
with
of
all of
things.
that. Yes. So like I think that you also don't so from the extreme of maybe your kid, you maybe having a bad body image on maybe needing to lose weight. There's the extreme of people who are like obsessed with so much health stuff that their kids never ever get to enjoy anything.
That's right.
And that's also creating a body image. Maybe not that they're overweight, but maybe they're underweight, or it might not even be actually about their physical body.
Right.
It's just like, you're either creating fear.
Mm-hmm.
That is a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
Fear that what they put in their body
Yeah.
is going to destroy their body. Anxiety over that. That creates another body image, which is not even maybe about skinny or fat, but it's more like, what am I eating? I can't eat that because my mom said it's so bad for me, and
Right.
blah, 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 and I'm going to die. And okay, now there's a whole nother thing with that.
Right.
And so there's got to be some balance in all that. But anything that's fear-based is not from the Lord.
Right.
So just go ahead and
Yes.
knock that off the list.
Yeah.
So anything that's fear-based is not from the
Yeah.
Lord. But I do think that still falls into creating a body image for your kids.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I just think it's just one of those things that's just super important, you know, and I think about a lot. Ella, you know, she's got the cutest, she's so cute, and she doesn't like to be super dark. She is from Haiti, and she talks about all the time. I think she's beautiful. We have never said anything about that, but for her, it's something
she's aware
that she is aware of, and like even in the summer, she gets darker because we're out in the sun all the time, and she does not like it. And I'm like, God created you this way, and you're absolutely gorgeous. And I tell my kids this too. I told my boys the same thing. There are things that you have that so many people want.
Yeah.
Ella has these amazing eyelashes. I'm like, Ella, people pay big money to go get those eyelashes.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And so it goes both ways.
Body. Yeah.
It goes both ways, you know? So it's like but we all deal with it. Even if your parents said nothing.
That's nothing. It's like, it's just you're aware of your body regardless if your parents said anything or not.
Yeah.
Like, I never would put my body image on Mom because I just always, I mean, yes, I always knew she was on a diet, but like, I feel like that stuff would have come regardless of if she was on a diet or not. Right. Like, I just think you're aware if you're, like I said, different than someone else.
Yeah. And I don't think, again, that generation wasn't as knowledgeable
as
we are either about the effects of that.
They were not.
Even their kids.
What she did was what everybody else was doing.
Yes, that's right.
That's what she did, you know, and that's what, you know, we're trying to do things different, but also it's still kind of what everybody else is doing on this health journey. Right. But also I was going to say, you know, we have a child who was born with a cleft lip and palate. Right. A bilateral cleft lip and a completely open palate. And, you know, like she's had surgeries, had multiple surgeries, and like, I don't know, like she doesn't talk about it very much, but she handles it really well, but I still think it probably bothers her a little bit. And but she is actually having a pretty big surgery this summer too, and it's going to be kind of a long process, but from the beginning of the summer to the end, like her mouth is going to look totally different. And I really think that's because she is, and she's ready for it. And I think it's because of the image of that. Even though
she does so well with it.
She does so well, and we have never, ever said a word about it, ever, because we think she's beautiful. Yeah. I think some kids have said some things at school before, not often. And I'm like, girl, no ways. Like she has, gosh, her nose is beautiful in my opinion. There's a lot of kids who have cleft lips and palates and their noses are crooked, and that is normal. Yeah. And Ava Mae's is not crooked at all. Yeah. But it is a little more flat just because, well, first of all, Asians already are born with not a arch in their nose, like a curve. And so, like, I think someone said something about her nose one time, and I was like, Ava Mae, I said, your nose is perfect, and I would much rather have your nose than a big nose. Yeah. And those people were born with that, you know, like, and I mean, she took that and just was like, okay, you're right, you know, like, and it's just funny because, but the thing is like, we've never said anything. She knows, right? But she has had surgeries, and we've set her up for success because we've gotten braces. We're doing all the things to try to get her to where she feels confident in who she is, and she can feel that way for the rest of her life. But anyways, that kind of wraps up the whole body.
I just thought it was an interesting thing to talk about.
It's a great one. Yeah.
Think about, and again, we haven't arrived. We are working on that. As we raise girls, especially. Yes. But anyway, question of the week I think is me. Okay. So mine is, if you could only have one makeup item, what would it be?
One makeup item. Oof.
I know, it's a hard one.
I would say mascara.
Me too. Mascara's mine.
I would say mascara. I was about to say maybe concealer, but I was like, if I don't have mascara, I don't care about the concealer.
I know. I think mascara hands down. My next one, so we could say our next one. So mascara for sure, without a doubt. Yeah, I will take that everywhere I go. Yes. I don't even go to the gym without mascara. Yeah, for me.
Me either.
It's just something I do. Second would be like, I wear this like BB tinted cream, and so it kind of evens out your complexion. That would be my second one. Yeah. If like I had to choose. Yeah. What would be your second? Because mascara to me is up here. Like it is. No, mascara is like, it is a game changer.
Yes, game changer. It is an absolute game changer. Yes. Even if you have no makeup on, you put mascara on, it changes things. I don't know. Like, I would say mascara, and then either like the Tarte Shape Tape. I love that. I just think it can cover so much. or eyeliner for me because
Oh, yeah.
I know
I don't
you don't wear
wear
eyeliner,
yeah.
but for me, when I do not have eyeliner on, I look so tired.
Yeah, well, that's how I feel about the mascara.
And so, like, I would say it's either that. The reason I say Shape Tape though is because it can cover up so much, and so you could pretty much do that mascara and be
You're
fine.
good to go.
Yeah, and I do like blush or bronzer, but those are just.
I like a lot of things, but like to not
Mascara,
live without mascara
for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's
anyway.
the one.
All right, we're done.
Yes,
Thanks for listening.